Okay, so for this activity, we're gonna learn how to use the mask tool in Photoshop, so layer masks, and what other better way to do that than with like real physical masks. So you're gonna need to get the template that I have included for you. So you're gonna go to course materials, download from the project, make sure you're actually downloading the Photoshop file so you get all the layers. So you just click on it and it will go to your downloads. In Photoshop, you're gonna then say file open, and there it is in my downloads. The file is masking sampler. All right, so when you open up this file, you can see I've got a bunch of different layers here. We're also gonna learn how to use the history to take snapshots. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up window and then history. It's like partway down, history, window history. And you can see right there, there's already like a little snapshot of when you open the document. I'm gonna go ahead and click the camera and take my own snapshot also. So now it says snapshot 1. Okay, what this allows you to do is play around in your document, make changes, and you can always hop back to your document at this moment in time. So snapshot's really useful if you wanna like start experimenting, oh, what if I did this? But you don't wanna worry about, oh, I messed it up, now I can't go back. Like Control Z only goes back so far. All right, and we don't honestly really need it for this project, but I just want to show you it. So I'm, using this as an excuse. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn off these other layers, and then I'm just going to deal with layer number 2, which is like this kind of purpley bluish mask, something like maybe for Mardi Gras. So we're going to go ahead and select the mask and cut out the white portions. You could probably select this and copy and paste it, but the point of this activity is to learn how to use layer masks. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth tool down. I'm gonna use the magic wand. And then just watch for a moment. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I'm gonna click on the white portion. I have contiguous checked. I'm gonna go ahead and uncheck contiguous so that way it selects all the white portions because I wanna cut out, if I have contiguous checked, it doesn't cut out the eye holes. So I'm gonna Control D to deselect. I'm gonna uncheck contiguous. Tolerance 20, that's pretty good because the white is basically just pure white. I'm gonna click here and you can see it selected all the white portions of the image. If I were to put a layer mask on right now, it would actually cut out the mask, which is like the opposite of what I wanna cut out. So I'm gonna hit undo. And I'm gonna say select inverse. Okay, so oftentimes it's easier to select the background and then get rid of it and change your selection to what is not the background essentially, okay? So select inverse is taking your selection and it's selecting the opposite portions. So it looks basically the same, but now when I click my layer mask, so the layer mask, there's the little yin yang, I call it, the little black white circle. It's the one to the left of it. It's a rectangle with a circle. If I click that, it allows you to hide portions of the image. All right, so it has gotten rid of all the white portions. And if this were bigger, I'm actually gonna make it bigger, Control T. So you can see that over here in my preview, anywhere black, it has kind of hidden that portion of the image, anywhere white it's showing. So I don't actually need the mask this big. I'm gonna shrink it back down. So go ahead and shrink your mask, make it fit on this person right here. Great, there's the mask, I'm happy with it. If you need to stretch any of it, hold shift. And when you're happy, hit enter, okay? You'll notice there is like a little bit of a white edge maybe. I'm not gonna worry about it for this one, but I'll show you on the next one how to get rid of it. Go ahead and take a snapshot now. So now we have our little picture in our history, window history. Take a little picture. By the way, if you can't see anything in your snapshot window, this menu can be expanded. You can move up and down on it as well. Okay, so if you can't see anything, there's a scroll. You can also physically make this longer. Okay, I've taken a snapshot. There we go. All right, I'm gonna turn this one off and I'm gonna go to the next one. All right, for this mask is a little bit trickier. You know, I like to get progressively harder. This one, when I select it, you need to make sure that your tolerance isn't too high. Let's say I had like 50 as my tolerance. then when I select it, it's gonna select portions of the white on the mask because it's very close to the background. So Control D to deselect. I'm gonna do maybe 20 for my tolerance. Let's see if that works. I'm gonna select my white portions. And heads up, if you're not selecting anything or if it's selecting like the entire picture, you might just be on the wrong layer. So make sure you're on the correct layer. And then again, I need to say select inverse because right now I have the background selected. I really want the mask selected. So I'm going to say select inverse. And now I'm going to use the layer mask, the little black and white rectangle with a circle, to cut this out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and Control T. I'm going to move it on. And then one last thing I want us to do. You might need to stretch this one a little bit. Okay, one last thing I want to do for this one specifically is, let's say I have this and it's looking pretty good, but I don't like these little tassels that are hanging out. I'm going to use my brush and I'm going to get rid of those tassels. So everybody pause for a moment and just look up here really quick. Your mask is right here. So that's anything black is getting rid of it. So the mask is kind of like an eraser, but it's better. No! All right, so I've got my layer mask here, and let's say I'm looking at this and I decide, you know what, I like this, but I don't like the tassels. I want to erase them. I'm going to erase them using the layer mask. The layer mask, once you learn it, there's very few times you should actually use the regular eraser, okay? The eraser is for like, you know, not the pros, okay? There's some times where, yes, the eraser is the best tool, but the majority of the time, the layer mask is better, and let me show you why. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a brush. I'm on the layer mask, and I'm gonna go ahead and I've decided I don't want these tassels here, so I'm gonna get my black paintbrush. Black is going to hide all my masks, so I'm gonna use my black paintbrush, and I'm gonna hide this area, okay? So I'm essentially erasing it, right? And then same thing over here. I've gotten rid of it, and then let's say later, you look at this and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm 20 steps later and I decided I do want the tassels. You know what? Those tassels are going to take my project next level. Well, I can take my white paintbrush, so I'm going to switch to white, and I'm going to bring them back. So it's better than the eraser because you can always go back and forth. You can erase, you can bring it back, you can erase, you can bring it back. Okay, so that is the advantage of layer masking. So for this, we are going to get rid of the tassels, okay? So get rid of the tassels just so I know that you know how to use the brush with the layer mask, okay? And then there is like a little halo over here. If you're getting a weird halo from the magic wand, you can just get rid of it with the brush. Window, history, snapshot. All right, I've gotten through 2 of them. I'm going to go to the next one. This one actually is super easy. You're just gonna, again, select my white portions. Make sure contiguous is not checked, so it gets all the white portions. Remember, you have to say select inverse, and then hit the mask. There we go. Control T, I'm gonna put it on my model here. Great. I'm happy. I'm gonna hit enter. Oops. I need to maybe make it a little bit bigger. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, and again, the layer mask is really great because let's say I really like this, but like that weird spot, I don't like that right there. So I'm gonna take my black paintbrush and I'm gonna get rid of that little spot right there. Okay, or maybe, oh, I don't want this little spot here, or I don't want that little spot there. I can essentially erase it, but if later I wanna bring it back, I can. All right, so I'm gonna take a snapshot, and then the last one, I'm gonna do the, this is gonna be the trickiest. All right, I'm gonna make my cat bigger. I'm gonna use my magic wand. There are probably some better ways, honestly, to cut this out, but we're just gonna use magic wand for simplicity. Magic wand, I'm selecting the black portions. Now, the cat's eyes are getting selected. I don't like that. So there's 2 things we could do. We could either not really worry about it. I'm gonna go ahead and put my tolerance up, and then we can use the mask to bring it back. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna deselect, Control D. Control D to deselect. I'm gonna make my tolerance maybe 45. Let's see. All right. So I've selected the cat. It missed this little spot, so I'm just gonna add to my selection. I'm gonna add to it. There we go. I'm gonna mask it out. Oops, you know what? I think I'm gonna hit Control Z. I think I need to move my cat layer down, sorry. Undo, undo. Oh, here's a perfect example of, I'm just gonna go back to my snapshot, turn these other ones off, and there's my cat again. There we go. All right, let's restart. Magic wand, I'm selecting that. I'm gonna add to my selection to get this portion. Then remember I need to say select inverse, and I'm gonna hit the mask. Now, the cat's eyes are not there. That's okay because I used a layer mask. So I can fill them back in. So I'm gonna go to my layer mask, paintbrush, white paintbrush. I'm gonna bring the eyes back and the whiskers, okay? And all those little bits that I was missing that I need, okay? So I'm patching that back in because I used a layer mask instead of an eraser. All right, I'm also going to do a low opacity brush, and maybe I'm gonna fade this, the bottom here, so I'm gonna use black. Oopsies, I'm not gonna draw my picture. Make sure you're on your layer mask. So I'm on my layer mask. Get the black, large brush, low opacity, and I can go ahead and fade off some of this. Let's see here, I need to make this much bigger. I'll rotate this a little bit. All right. And need to line this up a little bit better. Okay, and again, maybe I erased a little bit too much of the nose. I can bring it back with the white. So maybe I need to bring back a little bit of this cat nose, and now I'm happy with that. Maybe these edges I want to fade a little bit, so I can use a low opacity on the sides. Let me turn that down a little bit so it's a little bit more subtle. Yay, I'm so happy. It looks great. Now her head is sticking up. So for this one, I'm gonna actually mask her out. Okay, because I don't like, that's weird. Her head is like sticking up. Let me first get rid of this little halo. So I'm just gonna use my black brush on the mask and get rid of all that stuff. That weird little halo. Sometimes the magic wand like can't select that very last pixel on the edge, but it's very easy to get rid of it with the mask. All right, and now I'm gonna get rid of her. So that little top portion that's sticking up, I'm gonna use the layer mask on her. So I'm gonna use the layer mask. I'm gonna click on the mask on her. I'm gonna use black, I'm gonna get rid of this portion of her head. And then, oh no, it's pretty white, that's okay. I'm going to go to my background layer and I'm just gonna fill it with this color. So edit fill, color, and I'm actually gonna just hold my eyedropper over. I'll sample this color. Boom, done. There we go. Filled in that little spot. Okay, and that's it. So I'll take another snapshot. To save all of these, you can just click through your snapshots. So there's one snapshot, file, save a copy, mask 1. Go to my next snapshot, file, save a copy, mask 2. File, save a copy, mask 3. File, save a copy, mask 4. But you can see how this is probably useful. Like if you want to make multiple versions of something, right? You can go through these snapshots. I will say the snapshots do not save with your document. So don't close before you have them saved. Like don't rely on that snapshot data. Something else you can do is you can create 4 different documents. So next to the camera, there's a little, like a plus with a little piece of paper. Create new document from current state. If I click that, boom, I have a whole new document. So let's say you have done something and you're like, I like them both. I don't know which one to save. I know the snapshots aren't going to save. You can create another document, right? So you have multiple documents. And you could save them all separately that way as well. Okay? So again, file, save a copy, and put it on your computer, JPEG, so on and so forth. Okay, so we learned about history. That's under Window, History, the snapshots. We learned how to make different documents. We learned how to take snapshots with a little picture. What else? And then mask is right here. Make sure you're on the layer mask to use your black brush to get rid of and your white brush to bring back. And the other thing was we did select inverse. So if it's cutting out the wrong portion, you need to inverse your selection. Select inverse.